Hello! How is everyone doing today? Welcome to Academy of New York Live. You're watching a live session about how to speak like an American. I'm Carter, I'm your host.
And I'm Adam, the co-host.
That's right. And we're glad that you guys have joined us this evening. And we just want to remind you a couple of house cleaning things before we get started. Adam, when's our trimester begin?
All right, so our trimester is beginning at the beginning of April. All right, so that's very soon. And we want you to join, and we will get you talking in English.
That's right. And just some basic info about Academy of New York, if you're not familiar. We've been with you for about over 10 years. We have over 7,000 satisfied clients. We teach you how to communicate. We teach you in an authentic, natural way to speak English. And we'll teach you to be more confident in speaking English. Anything else you want to add to that, Adam?
Well, definitely if you're speaking with American teachers, American people, that's the best way to really learn English instead of just from high school in Poland.
That's very true. And let's tell you about some of the benefits of learning American English. One, you can move to the USA, land opportunities, the land built by immigrants that have prospered through hard work and determination. Two, the USA, as many of you know, is the largest economy in the world. There are American businesses located all over the world, obviously Poland as well. The USA offers great education opportunities for you to take part of, and so if you speak better English, then you'll be able to partake in those opportunities. We have a lot of scientific articles in American English, so if you're a science-based sort of person, academic or business person, it'll help you to come work with us and learn from us, and you'll be able to improve and expand your English as well. Anything else there, you think?
Yeah, sure. If you guys haven't noticed, there's a lot of American songs, a lot of songs sung in English, even from other countries.
Like Britain.
Like Britain, yeah. And they love our accent so much, they start sounding like Americans when they start singing. Also, some other things is that we think
we're biased, but yeah.
that the accent from America is a lot easier to speak and to understand. I guess you guys have had, I don't know, some run-ins with British or Irish people. It's almost impossible.
For some of us, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And definitely our accent is way more flexible, that it's way more, you could say, like, forgiving. Yeah. That you don't really need to, speak or sound like the American, but we will understand and we will love you trying to speak English.
Exactly. So very good. So one of the things we also want to remind our viewers is that we want you to interact with us today. We want you to ask questions. We want you to comment. We want you to like us. Remember to please like us. Click real quickly if you're watching us. We'll really appreciate it. But please interact with us and ask questions. We appreciate it. All right. So we're going to get into sort of this whole topic, which is how to speak and sound more like an American. But there are some definitely concrete and definitive ways to sound more American. But there are also some we have to also deal and handle kind of the abstract concept of what is it to be an American exactly, you know? And in that, it's sort of because language is culture, right? And when you have a better understanding of the culture, then you have a better understanding of the language, particularly American English, in my humble opinion. So what do I mean by the abstract? Well, again, the cliche, meaning the typical stereotype you hear about America is that we're a melting pot, right? And we are a melting pot. There is no such thing as being American by blood, We are very much, a kind of cornucopia, of different ethnicities and religions and colors and races and all these things. And I don't know if you know the American motto, if you guys are familiar, but it's Latin, and the motto is E pluribus unum, which is out of many, we are one, right? So even though we all come from different backgrounds and different situations, we all still form the sort of American family, which is a great thing, It's a great thing. And the other thing is the idea is that, we come with different traditions. This also affects language, right? Culinary traditions, religious traditions, all these things affect the way American English has evolved throughout the years, last 200 or 300 years, right? So I don't know, anything else you want to add to that, Adam? Just sort of some thoughts or opinions?
Yeah, definitely. He mentioned the melting pot. Another way to say it is maybe like a giant fruit salad.
Yeah, there you go.
I know that I come from California, Southern California, and I think in my schools and at work, we always had, I don't know, a quarter, people from USA, from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, and even those darn Australians. And so, yeah, we really, to be an American, exactly as he was saying, that it was just the merging all of our ethnicities together to create the American image.
Yeah, and the American experiment, the great American experiment.
Perfect way to say it.
Yeah. And I'm from New York. I don't know if you guys know or remember me from the last broadcast that we had, but he's from the West Coast, as he said. I'm from the East Coast, and America's a big country, right? 340 million people, roughly. I don't know, after this terrible event, who knows what will be left. They're not handling it like we hope. But at any rate, 340 million people as of right now, and I'm from the East Coast. And for example, in the East Coast, we were talking about this before, that we have a kind of soft R. It's called a non-rhotoric R. Now, the typical American accent that I think most Europeans and most people across the world think about is that like hard American R, right? My name is Carter, but nobody where I'm from pronounces it that way whatsoever. Because I'm from, they would say Carter. Carter, yeah, they say Carter, yeah, I know your dad, yeah, that's Carter Campbell, yeah, it's like ER becomes AH almost, and if you go to like New England, places like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, what's the other place, New Hampshire, those places, Vermont. Maine, Vermont, they have a very distinctly New England accent. It's an East Coast accent, but their ERs are like ahs,
really different from where I come from.
Yeah, very vastly different. Now you go down where I'm from, New York, we have a bit of that as well, but it's a little less pronounced, but again, a very softer R. To the point where some Polish people, if I'm teaching them or interacting with them, they'll think, oh, you're from Britain. You lived in Britain. And I did live in Britain, I did live in London for a while, but because in their ear, they don't hear that really hard American R, So that's one way that if you really want to try to sound like an American, what you think is an American, you can try to do, I think Adam has a much harder R than I have, and you can talk about California.
I really do.
You do.
I guess where we come from, a lot of people, since you watch a lot of movies, we can describe the West Coast accent as the Hollywood accent. Okay, so in my mind, we don't really have much of an accent beyond pronouncing the R's. Where it really comes, the difference is, how we say things, maybe a certain type of phrases we say, or if we get nervous, what we kind of say in between sentences. I think you've heard this a lot in Hollywood movies. We always like to say like, I don't know, but maybe if you want to do this. Definitely they've made fun of the Valley Girl accent. And that's always something that is, it's funny to us Californians because a very small group of people do it, but everyone around the world knows it. Right. And it's kind of like this, that,
Is it a question?
Do you like the purse I just bought? Because, and so, just kind of like how you have posh, maybe British accents and different thousands of things in England, we have that little small section of the Valley, and
that's and we always think, maybe we can do this little experiment, but there's a conception or a misconception or stereotype that, like, for example, East Coasters have of West Coasters, particularly the Southern Californians, that you guys are surfer guys, you say dude all the time and all that, and all of that kind of surfer talk.
Can I tell you about dude?
Yeah.
For us, that's a sacred word. To say dude. There's even to the point where you say dude before you're about to say something really important, profound. It's like, dude, did you know what's happening in the world today? We definitely say dude way too much than we should, but true.
And for being from New York originally, and I'll teach you a bit of slang. When I was coming up, was you would say B, which means for brother. you know, so like nah B, like no bro, like brother, like, you know, it's like just B, just B, like nah B, like yeah, no way, you know. So we would say, but that was like our equivalent, or bro or brother and things like that. Or we would say, my dad's day, they would say cat all the time, you know, like man, that cat is bad, you know. So you know, that was like in his day. But actually, my dad's like in Northern California, so yeah. But so it's funny how that difference is. But the other thing I wanted to talk about with regards to East Coast versus West Coast, again, was the sort of vowel difference. And before I go into that, real quick, we want to remind you, firstly, we're talking about how to speak and sound like American. And secondly, we want to remind you that we start a new semester in April. So we want you to join our American Academy of New York, family, our American family, because every teacher that we have actually in the Academy of New York is American. And we always bring our A game, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So subscribe for our online course. Just call or text us, okay?
And also, American English is way better than British English. We all know that subconsciously, so we bring it to you guys.
Yes, cool. That's awesome. All right, so back to what I was going to talk about, the difference in sort of accents, East Coast versus probably the West Coast. He kind of gave me a little bit of a clue about sort of the West Coast accent. You know, in the East Coast, our vowels are much longer. You heard me say longer, right? And we've talked, you know, in between classes before, and every once in a while when I'm kind of not in teacher mode, because when I'm in teacher mode, I try to speak in sort of generic American standard English.
Hollywood accent.
But when I let my guard down, my accent comes out a bit, and you've heard me. And
it's beautiful.
And so like I'll say not coffee. I don't say coffee normally the way I say coffee. Coffee, the vowel's longer, you know?
So if you want to picture that, kava, but it's like kova.
Yeah, exactly. I don't say walk. I say walk. Or I say talk sometimes. Or like a really funny thing, he was laughing at me, is I don't say water. I don't say water like that at all. I say water, you know? That's how I normally say water. I say water. Have a glass of water. Like it's really my natural accent. So, you know, when you go to New York, real New Yorkers, not Manhattan, because Manhattan's full of people from elsewhere.
All right, dude, whatever.
I'm talking Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, real New York. Real New York, you're going to hear that accent, even North Jersey, because a lot of people originally from New York are living in the suburbs of North Jersey. But it's different than a Boston accent, which I think we both can kind of imitate through listening to the movies.
Yes. So, do you guys like Matt Damon?
Do you like them apples?
You like them apples? Pack my car and have it,
Yeah, so the A's are that, it's a little more, you know, as a New Yorker, we don't like Boston so much, so
if you guys have any examples from movies you want to talk about, just put them down in the chat. We would love to hear what you guys seen.
We want to hear from you. Please interact with us. We don't want to be talking just to ourselves in a wind tunnel.
Okay? I like talking to you, you know?
I like talking to you too. It's my buddy over here, So the other thing we wanted to talk about is T's change into D's, right? Often. And in that way, I mean, that's a very, I would say, common American thing in general.
We want to kind of
We want to.
We always want to make the speech like flow better and smoother. And it's probably the same thing in Polish, but how we do that is definitely making the words softer. And as Carter said, making the T's into D's. So water is water, but we are still...
He doesn't say that pronounced as I do East Coast, but you definitely... It's water.
Water.
You have more of the Queens on that. I would say. It's not like you say the T, like it's really But that's a bad example. But like I think butter is probably a better example.
Butter,
You say butter?
We say we
say that pronounced?
Right there. Wait, where do I have? Would you please pass the butter?
Do you really say it that way?
No. We say butter.
He's joking. They don't say it that pronounced. That the T's aren't so pronounced. But I definitely, and going back to this sort of East Coast, you know, pronunciation of things where I'm from, I definitely think that we have a little bit closer sometimes to a sort of a British thing going, where the T's sound like kind of a working class British D, you know, like when they say, you know, like I think you've met my friends in my birthday party. But it's like they'll say not butter, like the Queens will say ba.
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 Jesus.
Water. Yeah, things like that. So the East Coast, we kind of have that thing going on as well, but not as that, you know, pronounced. But it's water, it's... By
the way, with the comments, forget about it. Yeah.
Forget about it. Yeah, exactly. Forget about it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's definitely East Coast. Like I've said that too. It's like forget about it means it can mean so many different things. It can mean did you like that restaurant the other day? That restaurant you went to? Oh my gosh, the steak with the onions. Oh, forget about it. It just means it was so good. It's not even worth. I can't even put it into words.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't put it into words. Yeah.
All about the context. Yeah. Let's see here. Mickey Blue Eyes. Let's be like a real American way. How can we say what? This forget about it. How about this one? Have you guys watched Friends? With Joey always saying, I gotta ask you this, how you doing?
I'm alright, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing alright.
And the funny thing is, actually, I say that. He teases me, but I actually say that, like that sometimes when I'm coming in, I'm like 7 in the morning, I'm like, how you doing? You know, so it is a real East Coast thing for sure. I don't know, how do you guys in California usually greet? How would you sound, you know, what's a
Oh my god, watch out for this.
Right, see?
Watch out. We do, dude, what's up? Or, what's up, bro? We do how you doing, but it's like...
You're taking a piss out of our...
Yeah. We kind of...
Alright.
How you doing? And maybe, definitely we like to kind of slur everything. Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah.
When you, how's it hanging? How's it going? Real questions, technically, but in all honesty, and I think this is a part of the American way, we're always saying, how you doing? How's life?
Right.
How's it going? These are all questions that a lot of Europeans think that, okay, I need to answer, how is my day? Okay, so there was a lot of traffic, so that wasn't good, and then the coffee was too hot, I burned my tongue. So we don't expect you to say all these, you know, bad things to your life. We kind of just say, hey, the answer to that is, I'm doing fine.
Right.
How are you doing? How's it
going? How's life? Yeah. We were talking about that. We've talked about this before, you know, in between classes at Academy, and we talked about it off camera, and we're talking about this kind of, again, the abstract, right, of how to sound like an American, but the idea of a kind of understanding the American mentality, right, and understanding that. You know, with any language, I think when you understand how people think and whatnot, it helps you understand the language better. I really do believe that.
Definitely.
And so we have this thing called, we were talking about this sort of the American can-do attitude, that we feel that we can do anything and everything's possible, and that kind of filters in the sort of positivity of doing things. And sometimes you'll hear Polish people or other Europeans will say, oh, you guys, at all Hollywood endings for movies all have to be happy endings and things like that, and have to end in a sort of fairy tale ending. But it really goes with the kind of American, can-do attitude and trying to, you know, we go to the movies as Americans for escapism, right?
Exactly.
And then to escape reality for a bit. So there's that. But
I mean, would you rather feel good when you go back home, or would you like to feel miserable?
Exactly. So, you know, the fact is, like, embracing the notion of sounding like an American means like you're kind of also embracing our mentality. That's what I say. You know what I mean? There's a bit of that. Americans, for the most part, even myself, I would say, even as a cynical New Yorker, we try to be positive and look on the bright side of things.
Carter, you are a beautiful, always happy human being. Cynical my ass, all right?
Yes, and sometimes to a fault. Thank you. But you know, like Adam, you know, his example of saying, "How is everything?" We always say everything is fine, everything is good. We really don't care about the answer. It's like we don't care. So when an American asks you, "How is everything? How's life?" Just say good. Yeah, that's just say good. Yeah, it's they don't really care about the answer. Yeah,
but there is a nuance to that. Is that okay? So we're asking real questions, but we're expecting very short, let's say 1 or 2 worded answers. But we can still we still listen to those 1 or 2 words you say.
Right.
Definitely. Let's say you're in good feeling today. Someone asks you, how are you doing? If you're happy, you kind of go overboard. Like, I'm doing great. Life is good. Life is good. Yeah, I don't know how many times in the Polish conversation you say,
dobrze. Exactly.
Yeah. And then so we say things like that, and then also kind of like if you're not doing good, you say things like, and watch out. You say, I'm doing okay.
That's about as far as it goes.
I'm doing fine.
Right.
And actually, I've been in conversations where everyone's meeting each other, everyone's asking that question, you know, how you doing? And you go, yeah, I'm okay, I'm okay. And the exact response is, what's wrong? What happened?
Right.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Are you actually okay? I just wanted to take a quick sort of reminder for our audience is we start our semester in April. So please join our Academy of New York family. We will get you talking, all right? So subscribe for our online course. Just call or text us. We'll get you all set up. And we have some of the best teachers in all of Warsaw, if not Poland, in fact. I'll go on the limb and say that. I think we're really that good, in fact. So please remember. And also remember, folks, if you're watching, it's not a typical lesson, okay? It's just a taste of what we do.
This session right now.
This session. It's just a taste of what we do today. So don't be intimidated. Don't be put off. We haven't seen each other in quite some time since my birthday.
Jesus, like
it's been,
weeks, years.
I'm 40 now, so yeah, he was there for all that.
Aging gracefully.
Yes, thank you, sir. Yeah. But back to the topic at hand. We're getting back down to business. You guys remember the idioms? Back down to business. Get down to business. We're talking about sort of the American can-do attitude, positivity, how it filters down into work. How understanding the kind of that American mentality also will help you have a better understanding of the language itself, particularly American English. One such thing, and I know he can probably also chime in on, is customer service. Customer service in America. The customer is always right. The customer is always right. And it's also about having the right mentality. We're a service-based economy. And it's critical to thriving competitively in a market.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
did you ever work in the restaurants or? I
avoided that, but
avoided?
Yeah, I did. But I worked in retail.
You worked in retail?
I worked in
retail. So very similar. I worked 8 years in those restaurants. The experiences were from holy crap, that's bad, to really good time. Right. But sometimes Americans, and maybe you'll see this in Poland when Americans visit, that the customer is always right is definitely true. That to the point where they might act in an inappropriate, rude way, just because they think they can. I don't know.
Yeah. And there's the other thing I'm looking at the comments. Nice comments, guys. Thank you. Keep it going. Keep it going. One thing I wanted to get to before we get to the comments, though, is that about how Americans have a positive mentality. We have like this kind of I was going to say is a generally solutions-based approach to things.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say solutions-based approach to things rather than a kind of problem based approach to things. So I've been in situations, I'm sure you have as well, is that we say, tell me how this can be done.
Exactly.
Don't tell me how it can't be done, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that understanding this mentality, if and when you decide to ever go to the States to work, to study, to interact with Americans, it's really, really key in understanding this mentality and communicating with them, Because if you kind of don't understand that, you're going to think that everybody's just sort of like too high on life or something like that, or I don't know,
Actually, I was teaching a student about how to apologize in American, and this kind of goes with how to be a good boss. Was all right. Problem A, it happened. Forget about it. Now let's move on to okay. So what are the solutions?
Right.
All right. And I just saw it here. I would say in California, ain't nobody have time for this. I don't know. How is it in the East Coast?
The East Coast with regards to what? Just
this ain't nobody got time for it.
Oh yeah, I mean basically I don't got time for this. Yeah. So the idea is that like you can't be bothered.
Yeah.
You can't be bothered. You have other things that are more important.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's an old person thing. That's
like something my grandmother would say. My mom would say. My aunt would say. But yeah, it's definitely something that you would hear. But but anyways, I really feel, in my humble opinion, that it's to understand languages, to understand culture. So it's just, it's my, you know, my point of view on that. Thank you, Chris. Nobody cares what you think. I'm joking.
Chris is a teacher. He's a good guy.
Yeah. I'll wait till he starts to teach, actually. Yeah, I'm teasing. The other thing we're going to talk about, you mentioned, is the idea that in the United States, people like to embellish.
Yeah.
And no fault, I'm sorry, but like we on the East Coast often think that Californians tend to embellish a lot. And I don't know if because you guys, I don't know if it's because you guys have great weather or something, but there's a stereotype that you guys are just...
You know what? I can see with like, oh my God, I just broke nail, my life is over. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, there's a bit of that.
Yeah.
Right. Where I feel, my opinion, in New York or in the East Coast in general, we're very like real about things. We try to be real about things, almost to a fault, where we don't kind of protect other people's feelings. Unfortunately, we're very raw, you know, about something.
Oh yeah.
If we don't like it, well then we're going to tell you we don't like it, and maybe not in the nicest way. Yeah.
You know, and we from California, we take offense to that, and I think actually that's similar to a lot of Polish people, at least in Warszawa, is that. You know, they tell it like it is, okay? And if you're doing something wrong, they tell you you're doing it wrong, do it something better. And us Californians, I had a boss from Boston, and oh my God, what he would say to me just because I did something teensy-wincy, something wrong. I thought he was, I don't know, I thought the world was ending. And at the end of the day, you know, he's like, all right, so you learned your lesson? Yeah, okay, next day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But like, I feel that in the East Coast we have this kind of mentality, and again, I think you should, if you ever work in New York or Philadelphia or Boston, we kind of have this thing of if we aren't hard on you, that means actually we don't care.
Yeah.
To even bother to be hard on you.
I can see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so like if we kind of let you slide, it means you're inconsequential. You don't even matter to even comment.
Yeah.
And so actually if we kind of bother to be tough on you a bit and rough on you, then there's a bit of, you know, we actually care. We want to see you progress. We want to see you get better.
I like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I played football, American football, and you know, it was often
the good football. Okay.
The one I understand. Yeah. Can someone please explain offsides to me in soccer, because I still don't understand it. Yeah. But thank you. Yeah. Someone right in the middle. Yeah.
By the way, what about southern or rural accents? Okay, so
we're going to talk about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But I will warn you, we're both like city boys, so we do have a teacher actually from Texas, and yeah, if you want that flavor, he can show you the spice. Right. Definitely.
And so I'm really sorry for
We'll get into it. Yeah, we can't give you the real thing.
We'll definitely get into it.
And we'll definitely, if you join for this next semester in the early April, you can definitely ask for the teacher you want, and you can New York, West Coast, down south, whatever it is.
Exactly. We have I think we do have someone from everywhere representing within the Academy.
Even someone from Alaska.
Tamara was. Yeah, you guys met Tamara. Yeah, she's great. So yeah. Oh, so Southern accents.
Let's do it.
Okay, so most African Americans, their roots are from the South originally, and that's obviously due to historical factors, slavery, all these things. And then there was a huge migration northwards, right, to industrial cities like Chicago, New York, obviously, Detroit in the auto industry, other places in California at times too. So they sort of left. There was this huge exodus in the 1920s. Which is called the Great Migration, and that's when you have the large populations of African Americans moving northwards. However, having said that, so that means a lot of our roots are Southern. The food we eat ethnically is based in the South, right? So if you had a grandmother, if you're black, they're usually from Alabama or Georgia or Mississippi or someplace like that. My grandmother was from Georgia. My grandfather was from Alabama. And so you hear that southernness, you know, in their accent still, you know, and you know, in the South, things just for, you know, northern East Coast kid, like things always just when you go down there, things just move slower. And people take a bit.
Like how we should be talking.
And just to illustrate the point, because they keep telling me I'm talking too fast.
We are.
No, wait till I start talking like a Southerner,
oh my.
then things get real slow.
It's like slow like molasses, okay?
And like molasses. And you just want to eat, cornbread and grits, and you just want to talk slower because you think slower. Because there's nothing really to talk fast about, So it's a different.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's just if you think about it, right? The best food is in the South. It's slow cooked food, ribs,
true,
and beef, and all these kind of things. Smoked. It's slow, low and slow, right? So people are slower. The language is a little bit slower. They're not stupid. They just speak slower.
Yeah, don't trust the people from Hollywood. Don't let them shape your opinion about Southerners.
Yeah.
Best damn barbecue I've ever had in my life. Chicken. Oh my God, the hot sauces.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Really.
You understand why they're overweight down there because the food is really good. Yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's statistical.
Yeah. You can't hate on that.
Yeah. I mean, the food is fantastic, but it's slow. They speak slower. Everything is a drawl. We call it the Southern drawl. We have Southern hospitality. They just take a little bit longer.
Yeah, we should talk about that hospitality too.
It's fantastic Southern hospitality. Yeah, noted for it. You always have a place to stay. They will open up their home to you, things like that. If you have a friend in the South, you really have a friend for life. And really, it's just that Southern hospitality is truly.
Can I say a story?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, quick example. I was visiting my friend in Tennessee, in Nashville, where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. That's still the South, right?
Where?
Nashville?
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's below the Mason-Dixon line.
There we go. Okay, so it's like mid-low Southern, like on the East Coast. And I was jogging with my friend in the middle of the street. I don't know, maybe it was raining, lightly raining, so we were getting wet from just the rain falling on us. And I remember passing by a house, and there must have been 20 people there out in the front of the house on the porch. And they were, and I kid you not, they were frying probably the best chicken.
I'm sure.
Frying the best chicken I've ever tasted in my life. And what happened was we got this chicken because the lady, the matriarch, or the head of the household, who happens to be a lady, she saw us and she goes, "What are those two idiots doing, running in the rain?" So she yelled to us, "What you boys doing out in the rain?" Like that, okay? Come over here and get some of our fried chicken. And I've never been more proud to be an American from that type of hospitality. Definitely.
And just to remind you again, it's Academy of New York Live. You're watching a live session about how to speak like an American.
How to speak and how to be.
How to be. Because how to be is you're going to get how to speak. And this is what we're sort of talking about. There are concrete things that you can do. The hard R we discussed. Changing your T's to D's. The other thing is if you want to sound like a Californian Valley girl, you can make everything a question apparently. Yes.
Everything's a question. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Everything's a question. What position? I'm going to go to the comments right now.
All right.
Pshemek asked, what position did I play in football?
Hey, Martha.
So I played, when I started out, I played running back actually. And then I got hurt at one point, and then I switched to tight end, and I was an inside linebacker. And I actually went on to play in the university.
So what does that mean? What's a running back? What's a tight end?
You know what? For another time, I mean, that's like trying to describe the color blue for someone who can't read that. They're not familiar with.
Maybe really quick.
So our running back is on offense. Right? It's on offense, right? And tight end is on offense. So the people who score, and then the linebacker is on defense, right? Is on defense.
So I just because I want you guys to know American football. We have the guy who's throwing the ball. You always see that on TV. He's the offense, and his name is the quarterback. Okay. So when he's not throwing the ball, we got our man over here as a running back, going through the giant mess of
the tight end, catching the ball, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a great game. I played basketball too, growing up. I ran track, so I was pretty athletic growing up. So, but yeah. So thank you for that question. So Chris says, Southerners are the masters of insulting you politely. There is some truth to that. And one of the things they do is they'll say, oh, bless your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like go and say, like, go jump in the lake.
Yeah, kind of like, you did something wrong, but oh, bless your heart.
Oh, bless your heart.
You idiots.
Yeah. They say, oh, bless your heart. That's their thing. Vin has some, he's talking about Louisiana cuisine, which is fantastic. I have been to New Orleans. I've tried Cajun cuisine. It's fantastic. I had fried catfish. I had jambalaya. I had gumbo. I ate it all. So
what is gumbo? What is that?
Gumbo is like, literally when we say something is a gumbo, it's a mix of things, right?
All right.
So it has like, it has sausage in it, I believe, and it has rice, and it has okra, I think. Help me out, Vin. And it has sausage. Yeah, it just has a bunch of stuff in it. It's a gumbo. And it's really, really good. But it's really sort of native to Louisiana, specifically New Orleans. It comes from a sort of French Creole influence that existed there for 200 years or whatever.
We don't have gumbo in California, and I had to ask him what the hell it was because
you guys have wheatgrass and
maybe
granola,
kale yogurt. But I just have to end it on that because you can't insult my food like that. Okay,
I'm teasing.
It's I'm joking. So I'm from San Diego, so we call it SoCal. And up there, those idiots are NorCal. Okay, just joking. And so we have a huge Mexican food influence. So over there, we eat a lot of burritos. And if you don't know what a burrito is, it's kind of like a kebab, but 1,000 times better.
Tastier.
Tastier, Jesus, my favorite was the breakfast burrito. And literally, it's like a kebab, and you have scrambled eggs, so Schnitzel, you have bacon, and then you have, instead of just potatoes, you have French fries in the burrito.
Like home fries or French fries?
French fries, and then like little guacamole and other sauce. Honestly, you guys, if you ever go to...
that sounds like a nap, okay?
it does.
It sounds like you eat that and just like...
Breakfast burrito, and then you got dinner. 8 hours later.
Right. Jesus. All right. How do you guys eat that over there?
Well, we get a little bit.
Yeah. Well, no, you guys are in perfect health, right? All that. Oh, so food. Go to food. Okay. So on the East Coast, because we have a huge influence of Italian Americans, obviously African Americans, Polish, Russian, we have everything. Puerto Rican. So it's just like whatever you feel like eating that day, you have at your fingertips. So I'm really spoiled. If I want authentic Polish food, I can go to Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and get authentic Polish food made by Polish people. I want Russian food, the same thing. I want whatever food, I have it at my fingertips. Yeah. If I lived in Idaho, that's not the case, right? So unfortunately,
kind of true.
Kind of true. So I'm really quite spoiled, and this is why if you meet New Yorkers, we're kind of snooty about food. We're very, very snooty.
And so this lesson is all about how to speak American, all right? How to talk like an American. And we went off topic on food, but that's a perfect example. Is we're really passionate about the different types of foods that each region kind of has.
Right.
And I kind of want to half joke here from California. We love talking about traffic. Okay, so it's kind of like if your friend was 20 minutes late, okay, this is another thing. You go, okay, so you call your friend, when are you coming by my house? When are you coming here? And your friend goes 5 minutes, all right? You go, okay, so in your head, you're going
calculate
15, 20 minutes, okay, if it's 5 minutes away. And then if the person says they're 30 minutes away, well, you might not even be seeing them for the rest of the night,
Right. It's very true.
So just to talk like that with how Californians talk. So if they were late, we always have the question kind of like, so what way did you take? How did you get here? And we're always going, well, I took the 405, then I had to take the 10. I got off on this exit, took a left, too much traffic, so I did a U-turn. And it's like this, instead of saying how you doing, we just talk about traffic for the first 10 minutes. So that's definitely, if you want to embrace that, I know that Warsaw right now, Warszawie right now, there's a lot of traffic everywhere. So if you want to practice of how to feel, how to talk like American, be like, yeah, I was on the Wisła Strada, but all the lanes were clogged and I was waiting for 30 minutes and then I had to take blah, 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 blah. You get the point. Yeah.
No, that's a fair point.
It's close to my heart.
For us, it's talking in New York, it's talking about public transit, right?
Yeah.
Which train you had to take and which train didn't come and what was, so it's that. That experience. Yeah. Totally. One of the things I wanted to cover quickly is the oral traditions we have in the United States with our different ethnicities, like the Irish, for example, or even obviously me being African American, which again is another cultural sort of abstract thing. When you talk to someone, if you talk to someone of Irish descent in America, you can really see the kind of lineage, the kind of how their ancestors talked about things and the kind of descriptions that they use, and they're really great storytellers, which it kind of goes into the English language, particularly American English. And when the Irish came over, they largely settled in Massachusetts, Boston, New York, Chicago, these places, were police officers, in the fire department. That experience affects, again, the idea of language within the cities and things of that nature.
The center of the community.
The center of the community, exactly. We've had only one actually Catholic president ever, which was Kennedy, who was Irish American.
Darn Catholic guy.
But that's it's a big deal. Hey, one for one. Yeah. we got one for every. We got African American. You guys are Catholic, all right? Diversity, exactly. And also, I wanted to talk quickly about because I think it's really critical as well, is the sort of African American experience with regards to English. Obviously, in my case, my family aren't new arrivals. My family's been in the United States for 300-400 years or something. I'm a descendant of slaves. Slaves, when they came to the United States, didn't know the language, obviously, and picked up the language. They came from different tribes, and they learned Pidgin English, which is kind of like broken English, right? And then out of that evolved a kind of what's called the AAVE, which is the African American Vernacular English, which is a kind of very distinctual way of like how black folks talk with one another in the South and elsewhere. You'll see a very similarity, whether you're from New York, or from the South, there is a kind of commonality sometimes that you hear among some black folks in the States. But what else I wanted to talk is how that permeates to trickles down into music. Music is culture. So gospel music, soul music, R&B, hip hop. This has changed the way we speak, right? People never said bling before until you had a rapper saying bling, right? Or lit, or cool, or dope, or chill, and these kinds of things, right? So all of that comes from music, which comes from the language, and the things that we teach you at American Academy of New York, we want to remind you quickly, we start a new semester in April. Join our Academy of New York family. We'll get you talking for certain. Subscribe for our online course, just call or text us, and we will get you speaking, all right? We're really, really happy that you've joined us here today.
Definitely, thank you guys.
And please remember, this is not a typical lesson. It's just a taste. It's just a taste, a small taste of what we do.
But if you want, it can be a lesson
exactly.
too. Yeah.
And when you call, you ask for Carter. or Adam. We're usually in tandem there. Please keep the questions coming. And please get the comments coming. So,
Przemek, why did the Chargers leave San Diego?
Want that drink now?
Oh my God! Yeah. Let me. This is water. But okay, so we had a very greedy owner to the. By the way, Chargers is a team in San Diego. They played American football, and
Right.
I don't know. In Europe, we the teams don't move.
We're institutions.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Dodgers moved to LA.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, here's an example. Is Wisła Cracovia will be from Kraków. Legia will always be Legia and Warszawa. But in USA, in some sports we love changing cities a little bit. So the guy was a jerk and he let us out to dry. But yeah, thanks for the question.
Folks, we really want to thank you again for spending time with us for this last hour or so.
Yeah.
And again, we want to remind you to please to subscribe online to our online course. Just call or text us. We want to have you part of our Academy of New York family. And thank you for the time we spent together. And we hopefully will see you tomorrow in our next session with Marika and Dawn. All right. So have a good evening.
Let us cheer you up.
And the topic, I think they're covering are job interview tips. So I think it'll be really, really
very important. Yeah, especially in Poland with American companies.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So join our American family. All right.
Yeah, please. You're welcome.
All right. Bye. Take care, guys. Hello. How are you? Welcome to Academy of New York Live. You're watching live session, How to Speak English Like an American. My name is Carter. This is my co-host,
Adam Kjærjun.
And Adam, would you please remind our viewers what's going on in April for them?
Definitely. You guys, on the 6th of April, we will be starting our new trimester. And of course, it'll be fully available online. I implore you guys to join up with the Academy. We'll get you speaking in true English, and it will definitely help you pass the time, let's say that.
Yes,
so
exactly.
win and win for that
exactly.
one.
And also, just quickly, just some general info about the Academy of New York. We've been with you in Warsaw for about 10 years. We have over 7,000 satisfied clients, students, I like to call them. And we'll definitely teach you how to communicate, for sure. And we teach, in my opinion, in a very sort of authentic and sort of more natural way to speak English.
Definitely.
So you'll definitely will come out confident and ready to speak, and you'll expand your English with us. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, definitely very different from how you probably learned English in the Polish schools. We are more understanding. Of course, we can give you the real life examples from a real life English speaker. And we definitely will teach you how to speak a conversation, how to speak with another person, instead of, just learning from the book, which is probably our best thing that we offer.
Exactly, how to articulate yourself.
Exactly.
And one of the things that make us, I think, in my opinion, very unique in this market is that all of our teachers are American teachers. And we all come from all over of the United States. And so there's a general benefit for you as a student to learn American English. What are those benefits, Carter? Well, if you ever move to the USA, which is the land of opportunities, you'll be able to communicate more fluently and be able to articulate yourself better and to be better understood because of us, because of our teaching techniques and methods at Academy of New York. As you know, the USA is the world's largest economy, and there are American businesses located all over the world, obviously here in Poland. So you'll be able to take advantage of that by expanding your knowledge base and vocabulary during your time with us. As well as, in the USA, if you're not ready for work yet, maybe you're into sort of academic pursuits. There's amazing sort of academic, scientific opportunities and things you can take part of as well, and you can improve your English here with us, and we will get you on the right track. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. So he was talking about the educational and business aspect, which is super important also because of, in Poland, maybe half the jobs are from American corporations, but it's also about other cultural things that first of all, American is way easier to speak and to understand. Okay.
No biases here.
yeah. We're not talking about that other place though.
Yeah,
but
yes.
Also, it's kind of like if you're watching any movie, most of them are coming from Hollywood that are at least speaking English. And so you'll be able to understand what these people from Hollywood or from Netflix are saying. And definitely I think the British are a little jealous because when they start singing, they start speaking in a more American accent. Okay, maybe the Beatles didn't, but a lot of those bands definitely do. So you'll definitely be more submerged into the culture and the way of speaking English.
Right. Yeah. Which brings me on to, and by the way, we want you to interact with us, ask questions, please interact. We want to see your comments. Do not be shy, do not be bashful.
Hashtag whatever.
We want to see what you have to say. We love interacting with the public, okay? But one of the things we want to start off with is, because the ideas in today's sort of lesson is how to speak and sound like an American. But we have to talk about some things. There are some concrete things that we can sort of teach you and tell you how to improve upon that, how to sound more American, obviously. Yeah. But there's a kind of an abstract concept that we want to talk about, which I feel, and I think Adam and I talked off camera before this whole broadcast, that we feel is really critical to you understanding how to speak the language better. Because when you understand the American mindset mentality, it'll give you a better insight to the language, you know, because language is culture, right?
Definitely, the conversations reflect that, you know, answers, questions, everything is involved with that. So the more you are immersed in it, the better it becomes.
Exactly the thing. So we have to get to this sort of abstract question of, you know, what is it to be an American, you know? And it really is, you know, quite complex. I mean, because we have different races and religions and ethnicities and all these things which bring us together, which is a beautiful thing. And our motto as in the United States of America, it's Latin, but it says e pluribus unum, right? Out of many, we're one. So even though we're all different and different cultures and all these things, we all come together as one. And we do so in a very beautiful way, particularly in times of crisis, as if you're watching what's going on now with the whole Corona thing, people are coming together in a great way. So, by the way, if any Americans are watching at home for some reason, our families or whatever, we wish you well, and please stay safe and stay healthy, okay?
Don't buy too much toilet paper.
Yeah,
leave some for the rest.
Don't hoard any.
And kind of add on that, everyone is saying that the USA is the melting pot of I don't know, the 21st, 20th, 19th centuries.
Yeah, that's the cliche, right?
That's the cliche,
yeah. He had said something really brilliant. He said it's more like a fruit salad.
It's a fruit salad, yeah.
Don't call me a fruit, but but it's more of a fruit salad or a stir fry, you know?
Stir fry, there we go.
Which you have its each individual parts and doesn't really kind of come together sometimes and melt, but, you know, the idea of we are, you know, if you ask any American, you know, who doesn't come from sort of like, in your case, you're like first generation, but you ask any, like, they're like, oh, I'm a quarter Czech, I'm a quarter German, I have this, I have that. They're like, okay, so you're European. Okay.
Yeah, European, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there's that, like, sort of ticking of boxes in America that people have. They ask me what I am, I'm like, I'm just regular black. You know, I'm just regular black. I'm not Caribbean, and I'm not, like, my parents have been in the United States for, you know, my family's been in the United States for 300-400 years. So, but it's just like the abstract concept, right, of what it is to be an American, and therefore understanding the sort of mentality which comes into play. You know, we're all from somewhere else. Our language, you know, even the languages that maybe some of us come with, has affected the evolution of the English language, particularly in the United States. Particularly in the United States, right? And so those sort of rich traditions and all these things of affected the English language. And so I'm saying, knowing this and being aware of this sort of abstract concept. I mean, the only true American, right, is a Native American, which is American Indian, which, you know,
right.
You know, so
they're good at casinos. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, yeah. They are kind of good at that. So, but again, if you're joining us late and coming to the broadcast late, my name is Carter.
My name's Adam.
And today we're talking about how to be and speak, certainly how to speak and sound more like an American.
Or American.
American, right?
American.
Yeah. And just to also remind you that we start our new semester in April. So please join our
soon.
Exactly. So please join our Academy of New York family. We will get you talking. Subscribe for our online course. Just call or text us, and we'll be more than happy to have you. We're really excited that you're joining us today, and we hopefully you'll join us at the Academy of New York. Yeah. All right. So
as much as we teach you about American culture, we also love learning about Polish culture. It definitely goes both ways, and we love that experience.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So one of the other things we were talking about, and for full disclosure, I'm from New York originally, and
I'm from San Diego, California.
Yeah,
San Diego, California,
yeah.
USA.
Yeah, so literally we come from polar opposite ends of the United States.
Definitely. Him,
the Pacific Ocean, me, the Atlantic Ocean. Me from seasonal weather, which is cold, and then him from annoyingly warm weather.
The eternal sunshine land.
Yes. Annoyingly warm weather. So, what are you? You guys a sunshine state before?
I think that's Florida, but
I mean, California. What are you guys?
The hippie state.
The hippie state. Okay. Yeah, you guys are. Well, they have too much sun, and they're far too positive. But at any rate, we want to talk to you about the American accent, because truly there is no one way to sound like a native, particularly if you're from the United States. And I'll tell you a very funny story, because when I started to teach here in Warsaw many years ago, and I had my roommate who was from Michigan, and my other friend of mine was also from Michigan, Detroit area, and I had lived in Michigan for a while before, you know, long ago, and we were talking about, because we're all our teachers, and they're talking about pronunciation, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, my friend Kyle was like, well, Carter, do you pronounce it this way or this way? What's correct? And I go, Kyle, you're from Michigan by way of Pittsburgh, and I'm from, you know, New York by way of many different places. And I said, well, I said, for example, I go, Kyle, how do you say, and Nick is from, this guy Nick, my roommate is from Michigan as well. I said, how do you pronounce milk? And they both said, milk, milk.
Milk.
I go, so you say milk, I say milk. And that was one example. It's ever so slight. Really? Yeah, milk, really. In Michigan, that's how they say milk. They say milk.
And Michigan is in what region?
Midwest.
Midwest.
Midwest. Okay. So that's just one little example I'm giving you of sort of the pronunciation. So don't, I always tell my students, don't get too hung up on pronunciation. I have it called the pronunciation box. And if you're kind of in that box, I'm fine. But if you get outside that box, then I'm like, I joke. I say if you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, then the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, then I'll correct you if it sounds kind of weird to me.
That we're very just to say we're very forgiving.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone, someone in New York might have the Russian New York accent or something like that.
Exactly.
It's still American. It's still English to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to get to the other point I'm making is that, for example, East Coast, West Coast, is that in New York and the East Coast we have what's called a non-rhotoric RHOTIC R, which means a soft R, right? A softer R. So we don't have that typical hard American R that I think a lot of Europeans, particularly Polish people, think and associate with all Americans. Not all of us have that, particularly people of a certain generation. When I was coming up living in New York and North Jersey, everyone had that typical kind of like East Coast accent. But what I've learned, I was reading and watching something that the younger people, like your age and younger, I think younger than you, they don't.
I am, huh?
Old enough, yeah. But they are actually just choosing not to speak that way because it's considered to be working class, to be a very working class accent. Yeah. So they're kind of losing that a bit.
That's the best part,
right?
Too.
And then, it is. I think it really is a good identity thing. Yeah. But like where Adam's from, in my opinion, they have a much harder R. And in the Midwest, where the story I was telling about my friends from Michigan, they have a much harder, distinct R that I think most Europeans specifically associate American accents. So, Adam, why don't you talk about California?
So yeah, definitely. I'm from California, Southern California, and a lot of people just said that it's the Hollywood accent, okay? And so he's right, we do have a hard R. Harder R. Water, stairs, stuff like that, when maybe they say stairs.
You're right.
I need a boy water with a quarter, and then you go up the stairs.
Let me turn my accent.
Okay. That was my best. But yeah, definitely for us, we kind of, I don't know, it's weird to describe the Californian thing. It's like mushing up your words a little bit. And maybe a different example is we also have like valley kind of thing, valley girl kind of thing. You've seen that in the movies where everyone's talking like this. We're always ending the sentences like that. And even though from California, I don't want to be accused of speaking like that. That definitely happens in everyday conversations. So that's one of the big differences. Yeah, definitely.
No, it's a huge difference. So we have that sort of softer R. If you've been paying attention, for example, to politics in the United States, if you listen to, for example, Bernie Sanders, who's from Brooklyn, he has a very, very, traditional, old school kind of Brooklyn accent.
Can you do a Bernie?
I can do a Brooklyn. It's just like, it's like not saying November, it's like November. Yeah. And tomorrow, it's that it's not
exactly.
but and it's that kind of accent, and it's you're losing that a bit. Oh, thank you, Tamara. By the way, she said Cali's the Golden State. Is it?
Florida's a sunshine state.
Thank you, Miss Know It All. Yeah. Oh, someone. 1 second before we get on to our point, because we do have a question. How do you pronounce squirrel? Squirrel. That's how you squirrel.
I mean squirrel.
I say squirrel.
So for me, it's like I'm slurring my R a little bit more. Squirrel.
I say squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who says squills?
I don't know. Squirrel. Yeah, squirrel. It's. Gosh, yeah. That's how we say that. But thank you for that. What is it in Polish? Viotka or something?
Guys, tell us what is squirrel in Polish. Just write that down.
But interesting question. Thank you for that. And hello to all you guys. And Also, we wanted to thank, not thank, but we wanted to actually say sorry to Shemek about his question. You got him on a very sensitive subject about the San Diego Chargers. So if you're watching Shemek, we're sorry he couldn't complete his answer.
That's an hour-long question answer right there.
Drop into his DMs, all right? All right, very good. So back to back down to business topic at hand. We're talking about accents and the difference because in the United States there are many different ways to pronounce something, right?
Definitely.
Many different ways. Like I said, again, I'm from the East Coast, so our vowels are much longer. Here I just said longer, not longer, longer. And that's the normal way I would say long. Not long, but long. That's my normal accent. When I'm teaching at Academy, I try to speak in a very generic, non-East Coast,
Hollywood,
North, North Jersey, New York accent. I really am quite conscious of it. So words like, for example, normal words you guys have heard a million times, like coffee, talk, walk, dog, daughter, long, tall, ball, for, and water, right? Those kind of vowels.
Coffee, talk, walk, dog, water, flower.
Yeah.
Very pronounced for me at least.
Right. So I would say coffee normally. I say talk. I say walk. I say dog, daughter. I really say that. Yeah. Not my normal accent. Long, tall. I say ball, for, and water. I say water.
Water.
Yeah, that's my normal accent. I say water.
See, that's cool. That's cool.
So it's really weird, but again, don't worry. When you have me as a teacher, I won't say words. I won't pronounce it that way. But that's my normal accent, and so we literally sometimes I think for some of us who come from regional areas, particularly I think a lot of East Coasters were very sensitive. Like I said, the younger generation is quite sensitive. So we'll kind of clean up our accent a little bit.
But if you want to ask, how it's like, you are welcome to always, get that regional kind of lesson. So,
and in fact, we want you to continue to interact and ask questions for us. And we also want to remind you that we start a new semester in April. So please join our Academy of New York family. Okay, we will get you talking. Subscribe for our online course. Just call or text us, and you will become part of our Academy of New York family. You're gonna have teachers like myself and Adam, Rob and Taylor, who's an excellent teacher as well. Tomorrow's fantastic. These are all great. These are all great teachers. We always bring our A game with you, so we hope that you join us, and we hope that you become part of our extended family at the Academy of New York.
Definitely.
Yeah. So getting back into the accents and pronunciations, because again, today our topic is how to speak and sound like an American. Often T's turn into D's, all right?
And that's for everyone in the country.
Right, that's for everyone. Now, in my case, where I'm from, it's worse. It's worse where I'm from. And to the point where we're talking about this in the last sort of session, is that it's almost to the point where it's like a working class sort of like British accent, right? Where if you watch like Guy Ritchie films, it's like, it's like right? Things like that, how they sound. Instead of the Queen's English, which is butter and water, right? Things like that. So in American English, it's water and butter. I'm sure he pronounces his D's a little more than I do, his T's more than I do, but it's probably still turns into D-like sounds.
If you want to know the truth, this is how I would say water, water.
Yeah, it's a little softer.
So it's nothing as, we're not dragging those vowels or anything, it's just water.
Exactly. The other thing I would also, I would make you aware of is that Americans, we tend to mumble a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not talking mumble rap, but I'm talking about we tend to mumble quite a bit, unfortunately. So it might be difficult for you to understand sometimes some Americans. So always feel free to ask them to please, like, can they speak slower? Ask them to enunciate and articulate themselves a little bit better, because normally we speak quite lazily, unfortunately.
Our approach is always to try to make the sentence as easy to say as possible.
Right.
And sometimes that is pretty much sacrificing proper pronunciation of words.
There you go. Yeah.
And
so we go into contractions and other things. We're talking about like want and want to and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. We have a saying: shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Yeah. Okay, and that is could have, should have, would have. Or did I say it in the wrong order?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Should, coulda, woulda, should have, could have, would have. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So that's like a really kind of way we try to speed up our language. Little kids, you'll hear this a lot, and maybe giant man-childs as well. They will say, gimme that. All right. Gimme is give me that. Yeah. I don't wanna. I don't wanna is I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Yeah. But let's say so that's kind of like, you know, that kind of stuff. But real contractions we're talking about is like shouldn't. It's should not. We have will not, which is won't. We say can't for cannot. Yeah. And then we have hadn't for had not. And then we have, okay, watch out, he'd be he would. Okay, yeah, he had, yeah. He'd. Yeah. All right.
Very good.
So yeah.
No, I think that's really very, very key in understanding that. And it's funny. I remember getting myself into many of an awkward situation in Poland because on the phone I would say I can't do something.
Yeah.
And they thought I said I can.
Exactly.
And then I wouldn't show up or something, and they'd be like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I said I can't do it.
No.
Oh,
you cannot do it.
I'm like, you cannot do it. I'm like, I can't do it. Like I said, I can't. You know, so they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you said you can do it." Like, no, I can't. You know, do it. So
that's cool. You brought that up.
Be very, very careful. It used to happen to me a lot when I first moved here years and years ago. So that's why I actually start to sound like a mobster of the 1950s when I talk on the phone. I'm like, I cannot do this. Yes. I should not be able to. Yes, I sound like I sound like Robert De Niro or something in like Analyze This. Yeah. Sometimes I'm on the phone with like Polish people. Yeah. But yeah. So like be mindful of that. And the other thing we wanted to discuss is because we kind of bypassed, unfortunately, in the last session, the Midwest. The Midwest definitely has their own accent and their own manner of speaking.
So to start first, how are the regions? So we
have East Coast, which you can also throw in there, sort of New England, which is Vermont, Boston, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, right? Those places. Right. And then New York is East Coast. Connecticut, I guess Connecticut is technically New England, but it's East Coast. And then New Jersey, right? There's that. And then also Philly, which is actually Pennsylvania.
If you guys want to understand that is the upper right part of
the United States, right? Then you have the South, which is look at basically the Confederacy, which is Mississippi and Tennessee and Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, those places.
Florida?
No,
or is Florida its own thing?
No, because the panhandle of Florida, that's part of that South.
And all the other crazies are.
New York implants. Cuban,
yeah.
So you have that, and then of course you have like the Great Plains, the middle part of the country, which is Nebraska, Kansas, and the Midwest, which we were talking about, is sort of Michigan, Illinois, which is Chicago's in Illinois, for those of you who don't know your geography, Wisconsin, Ohio.
Oh God, I can't help you with that. There's 50 of them.
Minnesota, right? That's that that part of that Rust Belt, we call it,
exactly,
the former industrial base of the United States. And then the West Coast is his area, which is California, Oregon, Washington. I'd throw Colorado in there too.
No, yeah, Colorado. We slur the words. We're more, let's say, easygoing, more relaxed kind of a thing.
But going back to, let's go actually quickly before we continue on with our point. Let's go back to the comments section. So Shemek is back with us. Hello, Shemek. How you doing, buddy? So say mustache like Eddie Murphy. I don't even
mustache. Mustache.
I was like mustache.
No. Damn, mustache?
I don't know how to say mustache like Eddie Murphy. For sure is also very American. If you grew up in California and you watch Clueless,
please. I texted you on Facebook and I said for sure I think 4 times.
True.
And I'm a very highly educated young man.
No, I know. But they're saying Clueless. Is it for sure?
For sure, yeah. But we find ourselves saying that a lot. Is man, for sure. It's like another way to say like either you agree or like okay, keep on talking, keep on talking.
Exactly. So do we have? I think we had some other ones up. If someone
what are your favorite show and film? I like
that question. Good one. I had many, but it depends what mood you catch me on. Back in the day, about 10 years, I was a huge Mad Men fan, huge Boardwalk Empire fan, huge Sopranos fan.
I'm watching all that stuff right now.
Yeah, of course, we all.
Seriously?
Yeah, we're all watching it again.
Third season of Mad Men.
Exactly, that's my show, man. man. Yeah. So I can rewatch it. Like I've rewatched it 4 times. So, nice. But I love that show. I think it's great acting. I think I don't know about now, but we were definitely in the golden age of TV. I felt for a minute there.
Yeah, definitely.
And all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah. So those are shows. And of course, I was watching Game of Thrones, but last season was like, yeah, for me. So, but up until the 8th season, I was definitely a Game of Thrones guy. So I don't know what you're watching.
For myself, I'm loving Mad Men so far.
Right.
If you guys like sci-fi or science fiction, it's of course Empire Strikes Back and The Expanse, which is a TV show.
And The Mandalorian, you told me.
Mandalorian is Baby Yoda is cute. And of course, if we're talking about American films here, definitely The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. All those spaghetti westerns. Yeah. Fantastic.
Big spaghetti western fan myself. Yeah. Huge. Yeah. I definitely check out the spaghetti westerns. And we want to remind you that you are live with us. If those of us are joining late at the live broadcast, and you're watching How to Speak Like an American. This is Academy of New York Live. My name is Carter.
My name's Adam.
And we want to remind you that our new semester starts in April, and we want you to join our Academy of New York family. So we will definitely get you talking. We want you to subscribe online, call or text us, and we'll definitely get a hold of you, and you'll be joining us, hopefully online. And hopefully when all this crazy stuff is over, you're joining us in the classroom, because that's where we shine. I think a lot of our teachers shine is in the classroom. So thank you again for joining us. And we want to also remind you guys, for those who are watching, this is not a typical lesson. This is not your typical lesson.
Well, as we said before, it can be.
It can be. But it's just a taste of what we do. I think we should actually present to the admin folks
something like
team teaching. Because I think team teaching would be fun.
That'd be nice.
It would be fun.
You know, if no one had their coffee, the students, the teacher, you know, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning, this could be a lesson.
It could be fun. No, team teaching would be fun, I think, it's the future. It's the future. So, but the thing, again, we want to thank you coming to join us today. And please continue with your questions, and we want to interact with you, and we hope that you please don't be bashful, don't be shy, okay?
But I don't think I've watched The Rookie.
Isn't that with Dennis Quaid?
No idea.
Is that with Dennis Quaid, Shemek? The Rookie? I think so. It is. It came out years ago.
Yeah, either way.
I think, Anyways, back to the topic at hand, which is how to sound more like American. We were talking briefly about the Midwest and how they have a very distinct way of speaking. My parents had moved from New York many years ago, and had moved to Michigan. As I said, I lived there for a bit, and then I went off. I lived in Washington, D.C. when I graduated university.
Okay.
And then they actually moved to Wisconsin, and then they moved to Illinois, near Chicago. So I'm really familiar with sort of this Midwest accent. I hear it, and in Wisconsin, it's very distinct.
Let's hear it.
It's almost like it's almost kind of Canadian to some degree, but not. And they have like, it almost sounds kind of like Fargo-ish to some extent, particularly in Green Bay.
So kind of like nasally.
They say like
top of your mouth.
They don't say hockey. They say hockey.
Hockey.
And they say oh a lot. They go, oh, you know, the Packers, the Green Bay Packers, they're really, you know, they're the Brett Favre. Oh, that Brett Favre.
Don't you know?
Don't you know? Like Brett Favre, he's going to take us to the Super Bowl again this year. Like, you know, they say like in New York we say sausage. They say like sausage. Like, do you want some bratwurst? Not bratwurst, but bratwurst. So everything is wider. Their accents are wider, where like New York it's like this way, more vertical. Theirs is more horizontal.
You're spreading your mouth out more, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's very different. So you'll hear that difference. When to talk about North America for a moment, Canadians have their own accent too.
Sorry.
They say sorry. We say sorry. And they say A all the time. That's a stereotype that we have.
Or
they do say A.
They do say A.
And
they say about.
About. And hockey. Not hockey, but hockey. How's the hockey? They play good hockey. They say things like that. And it's really interesting. But we have a joke, and maybe you heard this joke about Canadians. Because they say A after, in our opinion, after every sentence, they'll say, what are you doing today, eh? What do you think about that game, eh? So we say, how do Canadians spell Canada? C-A-N-A-D-A. Like, so that's how so that's how Canadians spell Canada. So that's our general joke. Have you heard that before? No?
I feel like I did.
So that's a joke. I love my Canadian friends. Philly, if you're watching, I love you, but you sound that way. So, but back to
well, how about the South? We talk about Canada.
We talk about Midwest and things. The South. Yeah. In the South, you see, everything is just a bit slower. Everything is just a bit slower. And like, I don't know, when you talk Southern, you just feel like you're in a courtroom.
Oh man,
you think you're in a courtroom, beautiful. And you just say, Your Honor, you know, Your Honor, I declare to the jury, you know, you say things like, you want to say things like that, but
that is spot on, by the way.
If you think about the food takes time to cook, and Southern cooking is it's slow, low and slow. It's you know, they cook meat for 15 hours and it just falls off the bone and it melts in your mouth.
And in that way, it's very Polish, maybe. I don't know. It's goulash. What is it? For a day, you have not kompot. What is it? We're stupid Americans. We're spitball. But the same thing.
Yeah, whether it be glunka or some meat that takes a long time to cook.
There you go.
Yeah, something like that, which is like you need at that time. But so when you think about Southern, you know, sort of culture, you think about the language, how they speak, it's slower, the food takes longer to cook, they're not in a hurry to go anywhere. They're always fixing to go places.
Yeah.
They're never ready to go, they're always fixing to go. Fixing is their equivalent of ready.
Getting ready, yeah.
Getting ready. I'm fixing to go to the store, I'm fixing to go to the show. The show is the movies, by the way, the film. The show. This is the show.
Okay. That's a new one.
And one thing we want to sort of also tell you is that in my case, you know, being African American, a lot of our roots are Southern. So, yes, I'm from New York, New Jersey, North Jersey area, New York City. But, for example, my grandparents are from Alabama and Georgia, respectively. And so I grew up hearing a kind of Southern accent from my grandmother and having that sort of Southern hospitality in the North, you know, that kind of mindset, you know. But yeah, so I totally understand and can concur that is the way things are. And but they're great people down there. A little misunderstood. Don't ever sort of
like mistake
slowness of speaking, of slowness of thought, and being a not
you can't judge people on that basis, definitely, especially in that region. Definitely. Right. We talked last time about the Southern hospitality, so
we talked about a little bit.
A little bit.
But Southern hospitality it really is, you know, what they say it is, and not everybody's a racist redneck or something down there. There are a lot of people that are quite nice and quite, you know, lovely people and will open up their home to you. Like you said yourself, the great story of
So first, yes, they do say y'all, but I'm finding myself saying that to all my teachers here in Poland, y'all, because it is just so much sexier than how you all doing. But anyways, But to continue with that Southern hospitality, pretty much what happened was my friend and I, we were caught in the rain in a southern state called Tennessee, in Nashville, where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. And pretty much...
It's in Cleveland.
No, it's not.
It is.
That's the NFL.
No.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Nashville.
Canton.
It's a country?
Maybe country.
I don't know. Whatever it is.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland.
I don't know.
The country is in Nashville.
All right.
Yeah, it's just all right.
But pretty much, my friend and I were caught in the rain when we were jogging out in the middle of the road, and literally to our right side there was a family of like 20, 30 people frying chicken in their front porches. I don't know how many people you can find in Poland frying chicken in front of their houses. And literally, and the big lady, we call them, sorry, not big lady, but the leader of the family, if she's a woman, she's the matriarch. And if it's the leader of the house and it's a man, it's kind of the patriarch. So the matriarch of the family pretty much just yelled at us, you know, from a good distance away. And she was kind of like almost complaining, what are you guys doing, what y'all doing in the rain like that for? Why don't you come over here and have some of our fried chicken?
Come out in the rain.
Yeah, come out in the rain. And it was just like, so she just offered two perfectly weird strangers to have, you know, lunch with her, her and her entire family, which is, I know in a lot of cultures, like pretty sacred. And so they are very open to joining, you know, and that actually kind of ties in with the rest of the American attitude that we'll say something like, hey friend, or at least in California we say, hey bro. Or brother. I remember paying for gas, and I gave the guy some money, and he gave me back the change, and I said, thanks brother, have a good day. And so that kind of ties in with a little bit of the American attitude, that we are more accepting, even if, let's say, we don't know the person, they're still a friend, you know, versus something like, I don't know, best friends, besties. We have so many words for the same thing.
Right. No, very true. Very true. I mean, you know, America is a complex place, of course, because, you know, of course we have terrible things which happen there, but then yet, like, you know, we have fantastically nice people who are just so giving and want, you know, all these things that you can possibly think of. So don't ever be put off by the United States, what you hear. Go see it for yourself, experience the people, experience the culture, come to the Academy of New York. Our semester starts in April, so we want you to join our Academy of New York family. We'll get you talking. Subscribe for our online course. Just call or text us, okay? And again, we want to remind you that today, we want to thank you for joining our live session where we're
thank you guys.
We're talking about how to speak like as an American, but we're also talking about abstractly what it is to be an American, because what it is to be an American, you can kind of understand the sort of the culture and the language go together, and we're trying to give you some cultural tidbits and things like that, and some insights. So we hope we appreciate a little bit of that.
So how about that thing about answering how you doing?
Oh, we wanted to go, but I think this ties into something. Yeah.
Please.
So it goes. We're talking about one of the things that makes, I think, the United States and particularly Americans quite unique is that we call it the American can-do attitude.
Yes,
we think we can do anything. We're very positive, right? Very positive people, almost annoyingly so for lots of other people, right? My dad is from Northern California. He's super positive and whatever. and so one of the things we wanted to discuss is that, for example, this filters down into language, right? So when we say how are you, we always, most everybody that I know, unless someone's just completely just on medication, that they'll say good, I'm fine, whatever, right? Like, you know, something like that.
So we have this supposedly complex question about how you're doing, and then literally can go into if you are, maybe take it literally, that's like, okay, well, my entire day has been shite. And the last 5 minutes has been good. You're not going to say that to the person. You're gonna respond in a kind of one or two worded kind of answer. And I know a lot of Europeans think that that's kind of a shallow approach to answering those questions. But I don't know, we talked about this before, that we kind of see it as being selfless instead of selfish.
To burden someone else with your problems.
We don't want you to feel down because we're feeling down.
Right.
You know, we want to kind of continue this good vibe, this good energy.
Exactly. Great way of looking at it. I love that answer. Yeah. And so it's a very American way to kind of be, and I think that the positivity, spreading that positivity around, not burdening people with your problems, is really very much into the American mindset and mentality, and also please don't let it put you off when someone just always gives you the response, it's good, everything is good. It's just the way it is, okay?
So I'm fine things are falling apart around me. I'm good is okay. Just okay. And then oh my god, I'm killing it, I'm loving it. That means like I'm good. Right.
If you say I'm just okay, it means you're really not.
Someone will be like, why are you okay? Why are you okay? What's happening? What's wrong? So by the way,
let's go to the comments section. Let's look at what we got going on here.
First of all, Pacific Northwest, I have no idea how they talk. I know they're all hippies and liberals and whatever. No, I'm kidding. What about what's your favorite animal?
Good question.
Okay, just because I had it for a pet, I'm sorry. They're up to chinchilla. Small.
Then his mom had a coat 5 years later.
The poo doesn't smell. They can poo everywhere, and the poo doesn't smell. Intelligent little rodents, which are adorable. So that's my favorite animal.
Now, I'll tell you the real story about this. He probably was breeding chinchillas and was making coats out of it.
Oh my god.
No, I'm joking.
How did you know?
I'm joking. But favorite chinchilla, oh wow, it's a very specific pet. Or animal. I'm not going to go with a pet, I'll go with like an animal. I really like lions. I think lions are pretty cool. I like little lion cubs.
Okay, that's cool, alright, fine.
I think they're pretty cool. Let's see. We have another question from Shemek again. Shemek is still with us. Can you encourage me and my son Philip to take part in your classes? We almost signed in. Well, of course we want to encourage you, Shemek, to sign in and take part be part of the Academy of New York family. We hope that you will definitely join us, and we hope hopefully that everyone who's viewing joins us and signs up, because our new semester starts April 6th, I think.
April 6th.
We'll get you speaking, don't forget. So please continue on with your questions and comments. We love them. Thank you, Tamara, for your for your questions as well, and your comments, I should say.
And Philip, come along, because we have a lot of teachers who are, we have students from, I don't know, from preteens, teenagers, middle-aged, elderly people. We have experience with teaching everyone.
The whole spectrum.
So yeah, we can definitely, we can make you comfortable with teaching English.
And Ada, I want to thank you, Ada, for the comment that she loves the stories about Southern states and African American experience. Well, thank you, Ada. I appreciate that. It's very, very thoughtful comment. So thank you for listening. Thanks for watching today. So back to the topic at hand, back down to business as a great idiom, American idiom, or in general. So we're talking about the different regions and how the accents sort of differ and change. We're going to sort of also what I wanted to discuss quickly was the oral traditions that we have being culturally. As we know, historically, the Irish have a great oral tradition in that they brought over with them from Ireland. Many of them, ventured into sort of the police force, the fire departments. They moved to places like Boston, New York, Chicago, and that. Reason I'm mentioning is that this sort of it filters down into the language itself, right? Into the American language and vernacular and that kind of rich story tradition that the Irish have historically had. And I also wanted to talk about African American sort of oral tradition. Obviously, if you're African American, there's many different ways of being African American. You literally can be from Africa, right, and have come over in the last 30, 40, 10 years, whatever. Or you can be a person like myself, whose actually family came over, unfortunately, as slaves 300-400 years ago, but been in the country for quite some time. Or from the Caribbean as well, if you're from have island heritage. But reason I'm mentioning this is because it had a profound impact on culture. We have some very profound creations that are uniquely American, right? Which came from African Americans, despite my family's historical situation. Pidgin English was a sort of broken English that African Americans spoke because they didn't know English. And they came from different tribes and things like that, and they picked up English from the overseers or whoever that were overlording them, which it evolved into the African American vernacular English, AAVE, and then you can sort of hear that in a lot of the music which was created in the United States. So gospel music, jazz music, soul music, R&B, and hip hop, of course. Being more urban. So you're welcome for bling. You're welcome for lit. You're welcome for dope and chill, right? So, but that comes from music. Music permeates the culture. It's part of the culture, American culture, and that's that's just the way. The blues, of course.
I gotta be honest. I can't understand a lot of guys from the South.
Like anyone.
When you talk about this pidgin, accent.
But I'm saying pidgin English was something that slaves sort of talk.
Involved in. You can still kind of hear
a bit of that. But
beautiful, but hard to understand.
Yeah, but it is uniquely American based on the sort of hardships and things of that nature. So, but again, if it wasn't for those hardships, you wouldn't have all these great forms of music that were created in the United States, which are uniquely American. Jazz is one of the most unique American art forms. So don't forget that. Which like guys called each other cat in the old day and things like that, or it's dame or bird or chick or whatever guys were calling each other. Back in those days with girls. Right. So and nowadays what guys are calling each other dog and all this other stuff and
homie, dog.
But again, it's language, right? It's all language and it's all about culture. So
it all has its own spice, and you can call me a bro, you can call me a dog, you can call me a cool cat. It's all about how you're feeling, not how what you're portraying onto me. Right. Pretty much.
One of the other things we want to mention,
Walter.
Walter. I would say Walter. Well, we're coming up on about 2 minutes left of our broadcast, so we're going to kind of slowly wrap things up. But one other thing we want to discuss real quick is customer service in the United States. It's the customer's always right.
Customer's always right.
And that also affects language and how we talk and interact with each other. The mentality that Americans sort of have with regards to customer service is really important. So don't forget that when you go to the United States, that it's not like elsewhere in the world where they're doing you a favor,
Yeah, exactly. You're allowed, let's just say, to have a tone that is disagreeing, let's say.
Right. Remember that Americans are a solution-based culture, not a problem-based culture. So they really don't want to hear about what problems you're going to bring to the thing. They want to know what solutions you have to the problem. Yeah. And again, that affects the language and how we think.
Problem happened. Now let's just focus on solutions. All right. Forget about it. So forget about it.
Exactly. So we want to thank you once again for joining our live broadcast. And please keep the comments going. Please like our page. We want to thank you for the time we spent together. We expect to see you on our next live broadcast session tomorrow with Marika and Dom. And thank you so much for joining us on behalf of myself.
And Adam.
Yeah, all right.
And les Français seraient très fics. All right, so take it easy, you guys. Yeah. Tomorrow will be about interview tips, so that's very important, especially in Poland. So please stay tuned for tomorrow, okay, you guys? Yes. So yeah. Cheers.
Tomorrow with the
Walter.
Yes.
Walter.
Thank you for the Norman invasion of 1100. Yes, influence English. Thanks, guys. Bye. Take care.
Take it easy, guys.